with former New York Governor George Pataki. Governor, thank you for your patience and your time. You said before the break that obviously you don't have a hands-on situation anymore in terms of what's transpiring in New York State or in New York City, but I just want to get your opinion on something. Attitudinally, do you believe Americans in general and New Yorkers in particular have returned to a kind of 9/10 mentality, forgetting about the horrors of 9/11 now that, 13 years has passed?
JD, I think too many Americans did feel that way prior to the hideous rise of ISIS and people watching their barbaric treatment of Westerners. When you can't help when you see that, but understand that the threat of Al-Qaeda is not gone. The threat of Islamic extremism is very real and very present. They want to target Westerners and Americans, so I would hope that since we've seen that, the American people would understand that we can't go back to a September 10th mentality. This is a serious effort to kill Americans, kill Westerners, and disrupt our way of life, and we have to deal with it. We can't simply enjoy the luxury of saying we're an ocean away. We're not. This is global.
Let me ask you specifically about the leadership in New York State and New York City. Governor Cuomo went down to the subways the other day saying, hey, look, New Yorkers, you don't have anything to worry about. Mayor de Blasio leans so far to the left, forgive me, appears to be delusional. Am I being too tough on the mayor?
Well, no, I don't think you're being too tough on the mayor, and I think it's more than appears to lean far left. I think he is far left, and that does concern me. Two things. One is that the reports that he has scaled back dramatically the NYPD's counterintelligence surveillance of those that could conceivably pose a threat. And the second is reports, I don't know if they're accurate, that the mayor does not have security clearance from the U.S. government because of some of his prior actions. And the idea that a mayor can't be briefed on the latest intelligence as to security threats is enormously troubling to me. But it's not just here in New York City. You know, throughout the 2012 campaign, President Obama was telling us constantly that Al-Qaeda is on the run. That was not the case then. That is not the case now. And we have to be aware that, in fact, Islamic radicalism, their terrorist goals, are very real. We know that thousands of Westerners, who many have passports or citizenship, have been recruited into the Middle East to engage in jihadist acts, and that some of them are Americans, and there's no question in my mind that they would want to come back. So I don't think we're being active enough. I think we should revoke the citizenship of any American who goes overseas to train or work with ISIS or Al-Qaeda. I think we should remove the passports of anyone who is involved in these activities, seal the border, and just, JD, one other thing. How can this president talk about continuing to wind down our military, scale back our military, when the global threat, the immediate threat of Islamic terrorism and the long-term challenge of Chinese military nationalism are very real? We need to turn that around and start rebuilding our military and not dismantling it.
Former New York Governor George Pataki, we thank you for your time, sir. And as we get closer to 2016, if you have anything to announce, we hope you will do it right here. Thanks for joining us from Newsmax, New York. Let's move along now to speak with former Ambassador Eric Edelman. Of course, he served in that capacity in the nation of Turkey. Currently, he's affiliated with the Foreign Policy Initiative. Ambassador, we thank you for your time. We pick up a conversation we had last week, in essence, about Turkey. Where does Turkey stand in terms of this developing coalition to fight ISIS? Are we closer to Turkish involvement now than we were when we talked together last week?
Well, JD, it's great to be with you again. And I'm sorry to say, since we spoke last, it's not really possible to say with any certainty what exactly Turkey is willing to do. President Obama spoke with President Erdogan of Turkey by phone late last week. Vice President Biden met with him in New York and had a lengthy discussion. We've had the Secretary of State, the Secretary of Defense, both in Turkey within the last couple of weeks. But although the President of Turkey has said Turkey will participate in the coalition, it's not clear at all what, if anything, they are really willing to do.
Well, fair enough, Eric. We're going to ask you to stay with us, and when we come back after the break, we're going to take a closer look at just what Turkey might be able to do, might be willing to do, and some of the reasons they might be less than willing. Ambassador Eric Edelman, our guest, we will continue to talk about the role Turkey could play in the coalition against ISIS as America's Forum continues here on Newsmax TV.